Vipi, jina langu ni Steven Mzee na mimi natoka Kenya.
Hi, today we are speaking to Steven from Kenya. Steven, can you tell us about where you're from?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Nairobi, which is the capital city of Kenya.
Okay, so you grew up in Kenya.
Yes, I grew up
How many
most of
years?
my life.
Most of your life.
Yes,
How many years did you live there before you came to South Africa?
I think came here when I was 27.
27.
And I'm
27
45.
years. Okay, that's quite a big change you had to make. 27 years. Can you tell us about anything that was different when you moved here? Things you had to adjust to? Things you were
Yes.
struggling with?
Yes, I think the first thing that was a cultural shock for me was the food. The food was, although it had similarities, the taste was different. And that had to take some adjusting to. I arrived, I think, in Johannesburg, and I wanted to eat some sausages, and I thought it was the same thing we have back home, only to discover that it's called
And it's not the same at all.
the taste was totally different. I didn't finish it.
Okay, so going on that, what's your favorite Kenyan food?
Well, it really isn't a Kenyan dish. It is it's an African dish, which is, I would say, it's very strange. You cook raw bananas and you mash them with potatoes, and it's called matoke. But it's originally from Uganda, but Kenyans adopted it, and it's quite a favorite dish.
That's cool. So, because it is a Heritage Month sort of campaign that we are running, I want to ask you, what do you think God's intention is behind culture?
I think God is a God of diversity, and we can see even in creation, everything that we see about God speaks about differences, a lot of diversity. And I think in culture, God has created an extension of what we see around us, different people, different languages, and just goes to show how big and how massive God is. And in culture, He wants to show us that we are one, but we can be different, but we are one, and we have the same spirit in Him.
One of the things I read that was quite interesting in the Tower of Babel, to me it seems like that's where it all began, differences, especially when God played his part. When he saw what was happening and he said, that's it, and he moved everyone apart. That sort of, for me, signaled his beginning of cultural differences, and languages were different, places you stayed were different. Also in Revelation 7, when he mentions, when he goes to heaven and he sees who's there, and he speaks about different nations, different languages. So it's definitely
His idea.
It's his creation, he's the artist of it all.
Definitely, you can see with a variety of animals, He made different, animals, different sounds, and even with people, the same idea flows through, but we have the one same spirit as human beings, which is His spirit. But the way we express that, the way we worship Him, and the way we converse with Him comes from our cultures, but it is just one spirit.
Okay, can I ask you, in Kenya, how do they go about celebrating a holiday like Heritage Day?
In Kenya, we have, it's not a cultural day per se. Kenyans are very cultural. We've got different cultures in the same nation, about, I think, 42 different tribes which have different cultures. And as a symbol of that, we have one day that we celebrate the day we became independent from colonization. And the culture is, the day is just to celebrate our Kenyans being Kenyans, not really cultural, but being one nation, different cultures but one nation. And I think it's just a day that we celebrate. People get a public holiday, and they spend the day, celebrating who they are as Kenyans.
One of the most that I read up on, one of the most common not only Kenyan tribes, but from Tanzania as well as the Maasai tribe.
The Messiahs.
They come across as very interesting. You know a lot about
Yes,
them?
yes, of course, yes. I mean, I'm a Kenyan, I should know about Maasai. They are our ambassador, cultural ambassadors. And in the Maasai, we see people that, even after generations, people that have continued to express who they are, indigenous Maasais, with their, we would say, primitive voice, but it's not really primitive. They've decided to continue embracing their culture. And even in that, even like I was saying, when we celebrate our Kenyanness, we celebrate who the Maasais are, we celebrate who the Kambas are, we celebrate who the Kikuyus are, all in one celebration. And it's really a diversity of cultures.
That's good. So it's a lot different to how we do it here. Our Heritage Day. Our Heritage Day is just one Friday.
No.
Although there's a lot of diversity, it's still
It really is a public holiday where we have, Maasai dancers, we have Kamba dancers, we have Kikuyu dancers, we have all sorts of, cultural dances, and that is how we express, being Kenyan.
that's amazing. Anyway, so thank you for your